my best friend liberated me to be the most authentic version of who I am. My name is Gattison.
And my name is Allie.
And Allie is my best friend. She is my ride or die. She's my day one. She's like the person who has seen me at my lowest moments. You know what I'm saying? Like that person you have in your life where they seen the ugly stuff. And but she's also been there in some of the highest points in my life. And that's who's sitting next to me.
And Gattison is my best friend as well, hopefully, right? If I'm his, hopefully it's reciprocated. But yes, he is my best friend, and he has, same thing, my ride or die, has seen me in my beautiful moments and my really ugly, raging moments.
Have you ever felt trapped? Where you feel like you can't win? You feel like you're in a situation where you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. You just kind of feel hopeless. We actually, I'll give you some context. So let's back up. Basically, I was raised in the church, okay? So the evangelical church. If you don't know what that's like, that's good on you. Anyway, I was raised in the church, and all of my family were ministers and all that kind of stuff. And I knew from a very young age that my faith meant a lot to me. I also knew from a very young age that I was attracted to men and that I was gay. And I also knew at a very young age that those two things did not coexist. Or in church, it was not supposed to coexist. That my existence or the fact that I was attracted to men was actually an abomination. And so I felt trapped. I felt like, what's going on? I can't talk to anybody, I can't reach out, I can't whatever. And so, fast forward a little bit, went to Bible college, because my faith meant a lot to me. So I went to Bible college, and that's actually where I met Allie. And so we kind of hit it off. We're like best friends and the whole thing. And the other thing was, to give you some context, at this point I had been to counseling and all this stuff, and the common understanding in the church was that you could pray the gay away. And so you would do your little prayers, your little meditations, your whatever, and eventually you would, morph into this straight man that was attracted to women, and you'd go about living your straight life. And it sounds so freaking silly, but at the time, that's what I believed. And so we met, and we basically would go on to get married. And so Allie became my wife. Oh yeah, come on somebody. She's like, spill the tea. Come on baby, spill the tea. She said, what? She pulled out her camera. No. So anyway, so we're married, and once again I feel trapped, because on one hand we have this marriage that honestly, by normal standards, was a great marriage. Like, we have people looking at our marriage and you know what I'm saying? They're like, yo, that's lit. But on the inside, she deals with this all the time. Anyways, but on the inside, I'm like, yo, there's something not right. There's something at the foundation, at the core, that's not right. So, by this time, we're married 8 years.
And let me
8 years. Yes, he said.
Yeah. So we are married, and
not now, but this is.
Sorry, we were married, and got married in 2008, and that was my dream. My dream had come true. I had 2 dreams in life. It was very simple: get married and have kids. And I have expanded since then, don't worry. But get married and have kids, that's all I wanted to do. And so found this beautiful black man, I was like, wow. Like, yes, I am living my best life. Like, this is amazing.
Come on, somebody. So I'm in my room, okay? And I'm doing what I normally do. I'm a good Christian, brother at this point. And before she transitioned, I'm just playing. No, I'm a good Christian, and so I'm like in my room and I'm meditating, I'm praying, I'm doing the whole thing that I usually do. Allie is in the other room, and I have my kids sleeping in the other room. Okay, so I'm praying, I'm meditating, and I promise you, it was like my heart jumped out of my chest, ripped the muzzle off that I had on it, and screamed out, "Is it okay to be gay?" And I was like, whoa, this is not on my mind. I'm not thinking about this. I'm not whatever. And it's just out of the blue. It feels out of the blue to me. So I do what I normally would do, which is, whoa, get behind me, Satan. Not today, Satan. This is not it. No. I go through my, talking points, right? Like the Bible, blah, 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 right? And all of a sudden, I'm interrupted by what I believe to be, or what I understand at the point to be, the voice of God. And this is what I felt like I heard the voice of God say. I'm not afraid of your questions. Let your heart ask whatever it needs to ask. So you have to understand that I've built my whole life around it. This is not just like, oh, I'm going to ask a question. I may come out, Like, this is my wife of 8 years is in the next room, and my children, my 2 beautiful children, are sleeping in another room. This question has ripple effects that I can't fathom if I even ask the question. So I'm like, yo, honestly, I don't even want to ask it. I'd rather and I just keep feeling this push to ask. And it will be later that from this moment where we actually have a model that we live by now, and it goes something like this. If your truth is so weak that it can't withstand a question, maybe it's not a truth worth building your life on. And in that moment, my truth was so weak that a question would ruin everything. And so I finally am like, okay. So I go in the other room. Woo! So I go in the other room, and I come to Allie, and I do what I do every time, what we have a pattern of doing, which is we have to be open, we have to be honest, we have to be real. And so I just tell her everything that just happened. And she said what she normally says, which is, okay, well then we need to take a journey together and let's figure it out.
I could instantly feel my dreams start to crumble. And, we took, from that point, it took about 3 to 4 months and just researched and put our whole, every minute of every day into researching what does the Bible really say about homosexuality. And it was intense. It consumed our lives for those months because we knew that whatever conclusion we came to, something would change. Something would have to change. And so it consumed us. Yeah. It was what we thought about night and day. Yeah. And I am happy to say that at the end of it, we did come to the conclusion that God and gay can coexist, and it can be beautiful. And so once we came to that conclusion, the next question was, so what do we do with our marriage now? And yeah. So we basically sought help. So we were like, yo, we need some professional help. Oh, Jesus. Come on, y'all. We needed professional help. And so we basically got a psychologist. And so we started having these meetings with the psychologist, and
basically like, yo, don't try to break us up. Just try to get, maybe give us some ideas of what we can do. Is there a way that we could potentially stay together? Anyway, so I'm gonna set the scene again, okay? Here we go, y'all ready? Okay, so it's February 21st. Allie and I are sitting on our bed. My son is sleeping in the next room, and I think my daughter was off to somebody else's, a friend's house. And we have a Skype meeting with this counselor, this psychologist. And so she basically is like, okay, I'm gonna try to give you some ways that you can, maybe that could help you. Anyway, she says this. She says, why don't you consider, I've had some other clients who have been helped when they have come out on social media, right? Like come out on social media, kind of just say, world, here I am, I'm gay, and you can build gay relationships, and you can, all this kind of stuff. And stay married. And so in my stomach, I'm like, woo, there's something, danger, Will Robinson, there's something doesn't feel right to me.
And I loved the idea. I was like, ooh, there's hope. Like, yes, let's hear more about this idea.
Right, so she's happy, I'm like, I'm like, oh God. So we get off the phone, and in typical fashion, we have a debrief, right? So we're sitting on the bed, and so Allie's like, okay, so what do you think? And so I'm like, I think this is a bad idea for me. I don't know about nobody else, but for me, I think this is a bad idea. She's like, why? She's like, I was like, up until this point, I have been faithful to you. I have not stepped out on our marriage, and I've been open and honest. And so what you're asking is for me to come out on social media and expect for people not to slide into my DMs. And you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a real thing. And for me to have to be strong enough to be like, and then I can go to, start gay friendships and all that kind of stuff and expect not to have feelings for somebody, right? Like what happens then if I start having feelings for somebody and then, I'm gonna be honest and come back and that's gonna be a messy situation? It's like, nah. So, and I was like, this is the thing. For me, this is not about having sex with a man. This is about me wanting to love a man and a man love me.
And that was a light bulb moment for us, because we had, kind of been trying to figure out what it was. And so when he said that, it was like, that's it. And so I told him, so there's our answer. I said, you need to be with the man. And he kind of thought that I was being catty and, whatever. And I was like, no, I'm serious. That is our answer. You need to be with the man.
And you guys, if I tell you, I ugly cried. And I literally was just sobbing, saying, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And on February 21st, 2007, my best friend liberated me to be the most authentic version of who I am. But that freedom, I knew, came at the cost of breaking her heart and breaking her dreams. And so,
yeah, and that sounds sad, but in me liberating him, I was also liberated as well. And here we are 2.5 years later, and we are co-parenting, best friends, next door neighbors, and truly living our best life.
Yeah. And so I started this off with saying, have you ever felt trapped? I want to ask another question. Have you ever felt truly free? Have you ever been loved so deeply and so unconditionally that you weren't afraid to live in your truth? And so I think that if there's anything that we can say to end this is, let's be hope, let's be love, and I think the best thing for us to do for the world around us is to be free. So thank you guys.